the Russian Federation has already gone on spending 28 billion US dollars. It had seeked to spend that money within the next couple months, but they decided to just use it right away. And they're risking, in worst case scenario, wasting around 40 billion US dollars. That's what Russia is hypothesizing right now. But in case that fails, they also have allocated a mere 238 billion US dollar budget in case all hell breaks loose, which technically that's basically spending 40% of Russia's like budget like overall, because right now the finance minister and also Russian politicians are against the increase in the military budget, but you have Vladimir Putin and senior military officials who are for stretching the military budget.
I mean, but do people actually get decisions in Russia, or is it just
Nope.
all like, okay, so this is just Putin's call. So why, like, so this is all fake discussions?
Well, they basically have warned him the consequences of increasing the military budget, meaning that they're not going to have enough money to allocate to other industries of the economy within the Russian Federation. So there's a big risk there. But Putin doesn't seem to care, from what I understand.
Okay, interesting. I'm gonna look up some data on this, but I see some twos in the chat.
It's from the Kiev Post. You can, there's, if you look up Kremlin warns Putin about um, what's it called, increasing military budget, and you'll see it from the Kiev Post.
Okay, okay. Before we go to the twos, what's your prediction? Like, is he gonna stop the war, or is he just gonna keep going?
My prediction is Putin's going to go down, just like what happened in the fall of the USSR. Um, the oligarchs and maybe some Russian politicians will team up and try to oust this guy.
Hmm.
Um, the other direction that it can go is he might keep up with this war rhetoric, and he just might go fully bankrupt, and the people will probably protest and try and get him out. That's my prediction.
Yeah, because my understanding is that he can't even stop the war because now his entire economy is war economy. So if he stops the war, everything will start breaking apart. So he's like basically stuck in it. But that's my understanding. All right, let's see what others have to say.
All right. Next to reply is Jose.
About a month and a half ago, Armin, I think I told the entire chat that look for the oligarchs and that Putin's days are numbered. And thank you, Michael, for finding that because that just verifies what I was saying before. I don't think we'll be worried about Vladimir Putin by the end of this year. That's all.
Wow. Okay. All right. Who's next?
Next on this topic is Jeff.
Yeah, so there's definitely fragmentation within the higher, I don't know, oligarch class of within Russia. I mean, there's a reason Putin killed a lot of those people, like defenestrated them or threw them out windows, gave them polonium 210 milkshakes. What do you have? You have kind of a elite division that's, as the war is going on, and Ukraine is really taking the fight back to Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state and all of the other crazy pro-Soviet hardliners out of fucking St. Petersburg. You have a kind of a schism between the fiscal realists and the, rebuild the Soviet Union hawks inside Putin's own inner circle. How far can this tension go before it affects decision making? That's already affecting it. I mean, you had even Prigozhin, and he was a vile guy. There's a reason he did his march on Moscow. Russia can sustain high spending for a while, or it could, thanks to the oil and gas revenues. That said, it's very much overheated. You have inflation, labor shortages, because Putin like cannibalized everybody who was trying to keep this fucked up infrastructure that was left over from the Soviet era of the Cold War. The sanctions have been biting into his stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of shit that's going on. So, kind of what the quick numbers say, the military and security spending now dominates the budget in Russia like never before in post-Soviet Russia. Like the finance officials are sounding alarms because it's starting to eat into like their productive base and everything else. So, I mean, like that division is real. Putin is very much concerned about like a palace coup, very much so, and he should be. You know, being that he's an evil, stupid fucker that put the world in jeopardy for this weird Don Quixote-esque fucking fantasy of his. My apologies to Latinos, right? Because at least Don Quixote was a lovable guy.
Or someone else can go and replies, and maybe Jeffrey, I think, can attest to this. But Ukraine has also attacked around 26 or 28 out of 40 something refineries that the Russian Federation has in works for generating the country's revenue.
All right, next to reply on this is Miguel.
Well, to even make matters worse, I just saw this from Enforcer News that the Saint not only St. Petersburg has been attacked, but the Russian Navy has also one of the other ships has been destroyed as well. The Russian Putin's ambition of being a Soviet superpower is pretty much a fantasy. Their navy is basically not almost damn a joke at this point. And the most powerful warship they used to have was the Admiral Kuznetsov, which was a aircraft carrier that was really that had pretty much band aids and duct tape to put it together. And it was running on Mizzou oil. I mean, the thing smoked harder than a chain smoker. And it finally gave up. They finally gave up trying to fix this old junker, and they're going to scrap it. And the thing is that it pretty much shows that his decisions that he has made, hedging his bet, thinking that he was able to take Kiev within a short amount of time, has completely biting him back. And Ukraine has learned their lesson from the war, and now they're basically going on your offense against the Russians harder than ever. In their oil fields, even though we have the sanction waivers, their oil fields have been attacked viciously by the Ukrainian drones. So, like, they're really rationing the fuel in Crimea is now hitting Moscow as well. The fuel rationing. I think Putin is definitely seeing that his country is going belly up pretty quicker than ever, and it's probably going to happen way sooner than he expected. People are going to be pissed. The oligarchs are going to be pissed because they try to keep this country together, and he's basically just sabotaging it in every way possible. And I think they're going to end up having him ousted, probably even executed for his actions or so. That's why he's so scared to end this war. He can't end it because his head is on the line.
Okay. Is it my turn? I'm gonna give you some data.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, guys, here's the data that I have. So, Russia is suffering economically while massive military spending keeps the broader economy from collapsing on paper. The civilian sector and everyday citizens are feeling severe financial severe financial pain. So, here's a quick breakdown. Stalling growth, the IMF forecasts a sluggish 1.1 GDP growth for 2026, and official Russian data showed the economy actually contracted by roughly 0.3% in the first quarter of the year. We have infrastructure damage. Recent Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian oil refineries have disabled roughly a quarter of their refining capacity, threatening the most their most vital revenue stream. And then we have crushing inflation, sanctions, a weekend ruble, a ruble, sorry, ruble, the currency, a heavy state spending, state spending have driven up the cost of living. To fight this, the central bank has kept interest rates painfully high, choking everyday businesses. And we have labor shortages, military conscription, and mass exodus of professionals since the war began. Have left factories and businesses desperate for workers. So we have, oh, this is what I said, the war economy illusion, massive state spending on defense and weapons manufacturing creates an artificial boost to the GDP, to total GDP, masking the decline in civilian economy. So imagine what the GDP number would look like if they didn't have all of this war spending, right? And then we have pivoting exports blocked from European markets. Russia has successfully, this is the part that is working for them, rerouted huge volumes of oil and gas to new buyers, primarily China and India. So the bottom line is that the Kremlin is keeping its war machine heavily funded, but the non-military economy is slowly buckling under the weight of sanctions, inflation, and massive labor drain. Do you want to give you an update regarding where how the war is going? So we have a gridlock. So the front lines are mostly static. There are no massive territorial breakthroughs for either side. However, Ukraine has a new strategy facing frontline pressure. Ukraine is focusing heavily on long-range drone strikes deep into Russian territory to cripple oil refineries and war funding, and that has worked very well for them. So, what is the Russian strategy? Russia is exploiting Ukrainian air defense shortages, relentlessly bombing energy grids, and slowly grinding forward to capture small eastern villages. But I heard that by the rate that they're going forward, if the Russia wants to achieve its goals, even to get the parts, that they want to, it's going to take like 70 years or something. If by this rate that they're going, it's crazy. And then we have the toll casualties for both sides are staggering with no immediate end to fighting in sight. And it's crazy when you look at the number of casualties on both sides. So Ukraine is successfully surviving and bleeding Russia's military, but they are not currently like winning back all the occupied territory. So that's the summary of where we are at between Russia and Ukraine.
All right.
All
I
right.
had one last comment on this, if I may.
Yes, of course.
My thoughts on this are Russia was basically a gas station that also sells guns. Like if you're going to break it down to Walmart American, that was their economy, their big gas
True.
station. Now, what the Ukraine is doing is you take 25% of those gas station refineries and blow them up. It's devastating to their economy. What Ukraine is doing is allowing for the lifting of sanctions to not actually benefit their military, right? It's going to benefit a little bit, but their military spending is basically just printing more money. It's inflationary, right? If you're just printing money to pay for things that the government is buying, this inflation is not going to loans to private businesses so they can have their trade and they determine the wealth of whatever's being traded. That's more like economic growth and trade and creating new businesses. These are businesses and manufacturers owned by Putin's criminal spy oligarchy, right? Their criminal network, right? The Russians are suffering. The Russians are having their internet turned off. The Russians are starting to get angry. Like there's not just problems with the economy. There's problems with payment. There's problems with getting your money out of the bank at the ground level. There's news about this kind of thing. There's a lot of little things going in the background that spell trouble at home. Now, because Putin has a gang of spy friends that took over these big companies, if that gang of spy friends thinks, hey, first of all, you can't leave without a win in Ukraine because that'll affect our economy. Second of all, we sell guns. If our guns don't work and they're not working in Ukraine, they're not working against Ukraine, they're not working in Iran, they're not working anywhere where we put these guns, that lowers our gun sales. So they have two economic problems. They can't sell oil because Ukraine is blowing up their gas stations, basically their refineries, and they can't sell weapons because their weapons suck. right? So that's devastating their economy. They're making a lot of weapons, but they're not selling them. It's just another expenditure on the war front because all these brand new weapons are just getting blown up by Ukraine. So this is a
Can I
double whammy. They have problems with the
can I say one
economy on
last thing?
gas and weapons. Go ahead.
Also, you're right on point, Sketch. They're having a hard time paying many employees from different sectors of the economy. Right now, what the employers are doing is basically borrowing all this money that they know they have to owe, but that's going to run out too. And how are they else going to pay the employees? It'll be like the Soviet Union when you had people working at these jobs that they didn't get paid for. And so, also, Russia is losing influence on Armenia. Armenia is getting closer to the EU. As a matter of fact, they're going to have a referendum to join the EU.
There's a lot of problems with their influence and gas and economics because of their weapons suck. Their gas is getting cut into pieces, and their policies are just terrible. So that's the bigger picture. Criminal spy, Putin's criminal spy oligarchs, they want to stay in power, but they know if they declare a loss or if they withdraw without a win, that's going to be devastating for their weapons industry. It's going to be devastating for everything else. If they were smart, they'd say, "Screw it. It's better. This is a cost sunk fallacy. We have to just forget about this loss, take it as a loss, and go develop some other stuff. Let the people create. Let the people in their markets have other things that we produce. But they're stuck on war, and that's been devastating for them.
I mean, to be fair to them, it's not that easy to just pivot. It's really, especially if you have a command economy. Also, but you say, Sketch has reminded me of something. This is basically the opposite of the Israel effect for United States, because when Russia, when their weapons are used, people become less interested in buying them because they see their performance, and Israel constantly demonstrating to the world how good American weapons are is basically the best marketing for American weapons.
I would add Ukraine, that their economy has gone from we need help to we sell drones. That ability to shift rapidly, which Ukraine did, and have competing companies in Ukraine try to make different drones and have them being able to market that externally has also helped. They don't have such a command economy, so they have a different competing drone manufacturers, which are getting great popularity because of their effect.
We need to at some point talk about how advanced and crazy the drone manufacturing in Ukraine is, because what I saw was that they have this it's not just the drones, it's also the system that they all operate on. So for example, when you buy a drone from Ukraine, while it's operating in the battlefield, is giving back data to the system that they have created, and based on how they operate and whatever flaws they have, the Ukrainians are manufacturing a new model of that drone, based on what it did well and what it didn't well, just getting fed into that system as as they're observing how it operates, how well it does in the field, and all of that is being done automatically with AI. And they just have created the system. It's crazy. And the AI and everything that they have, and not just AI but people as well, they're coming up with the most craziest solutions, for example, for stuff that nobody would even consider, and it just works based on the live feedback that it's getting, and it's basically trying out everything. In fact, I know this sounds crazy, but there was one drone that they started making, and they just had and I know this sounds like insane, but it had like a fishing rod attached to it, and it was just, I don't know why. Jeffrey, if you could tell us why they were attacking fishing rods to drones, but it was just like they tried it and it worked, and now they had fishing rods on their drones. So okay, Jeffrey, you want to explain all of this to us? What
Next
the
to
hell is
respond,
that? Oh,
next to respond, we have
oh,
Jeff, which I think is most appropriate.
Oh,
yes,
but so yeah, the fishing rod in the back of the drone, like the fishing reel, was to reel out fiber optics to offset the fact that Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state bumped up its electronic warfare and jamming game to try and offset the fact that Ukrainian defense forces were obliterating all their conventional military with 500-hour quadcopter drones. So, I mean, that's why they did that. You're not wrong. Like, Ukraine has not only shown its like gallantry and heroism on the front lines, they are indeed Europe's Sparta. They have shown a almost singularly heightened level and ability to innovate under duress. I mean, it's fucking crazy. Like, they're very good at what they do. It's also why it's really good that President Zelensky and Ukrainians are helping out Iranian resistance.
Yes.
Right? Slava Ukraini, Javi Shah.
Slava Ukraini.
Mhm.
Javich.
All right, we have our last topic, unless you want to go over some super chats.
Yes, for some reason we got 5 super chats. I thought today we're not gonna be able to get our goal, but we are like, I think, doubled our goal today. Holy crap! Thank you guys. So Iranian Vikings are saying again, Moz. Oh no, this is new. Moz lives matter. Yes, exactly. Thank you, thank you, sir. I appreciate our mods. Moz MLM. We're gonna do MLM from now on in our community. Means Moz lives matter. And thank you, Rainer Viking. And then we have Amir with another super chat saying, "Sketch doing great. Don't be too harsh on yourself. We are all humans. This community really got real bright stars within it." Oh, Amir, you always say the most supportive things. Thank you, Amir. Um, and he's here. He's in the discussion group chat and the YouTube chat. He's everywhere. Thank you. And then we have another super chat by Bobcat. It's a super sticker, just at $20. Just a super sticker with no comment. Thank you, Bobcat, for supporting us. I appreciate that. And then we have Roman Viking. Thank you so much. Saying Russia tries to sell their nuclear reactors globally. Yeah, yep, I think so. Yeah, I mean they said they did that with in Bushehr in Iran. That comes from Russia. So yeah, and thank you for the super chat. And then Fleshy Interloper, thank you so much for the super chat, saying Ukrainian drone swarms need very few soldiers. Yes, they're also the most cost efficient ones, to make Ukrainian drone. It's interesting that I don't think Putin saw this coming at all. Not only this became like, guys, this shows that the systems that you have are so important. This is basically the superiority and the agility of a model that is free, that is basically reacts to the environment because it doesn't have its hands tied, compared to the command structure from the top down of Putin and the CCP. This is basically, the Ukrainians being able to resist Putin is kind of the superiority of capitalism over communism, right? Because it's free. It's a free system compared to their closed, strict, restricted system. What I think is giving Ukrainian the strength is liberty. Hence it's liberty. It's liberty that makes Ukrainians so stronger, and hence the name of our group, Liberty Politics. My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.